All right, ready to go?
Okay.
Well, again, thank you so much for meeting me today.
Sure.
I didn't realize that Chief Cebulski was going to release so much information about the Africa yesterday, but I guess, where are we at in this investigation for the Africa? Do we have any suspects or
Sure.
persons of interest? Let's start there.
Well, I'll be upfront with you on this case. There's not going to be a lot that I can discuss at this point, just to maintain the integrity of the case.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, we don't have any information about a potential suspect that we want to release to the public.
Mm-hmm. As far as Chief Cebulski talked about some of the security employees and possibly a chief manager that we couldn't really identify, but have any of those people been ruled out as suspects?
I can honestly say at this point that because we've talked to so many different people and it's not real clear what happened, I would say we haven't ruled anybody out.
Okay. So it's been a month, and I know that sometimes cases can take a while to investigate. So what's about this case that is making it, I don't know if it's difficult to solve, but what is making it difficult to find a suspect or figure out what happened?
Sure. Well, and I first of all, I understand that a lot of people might be, I don't know if frustrated is the right term, but maybe curious or questioning why this investigation is taking longer than a lot of our homicide investigations, because honestly, we have pretty good track record of solving homicides in a very short period of time. This one is a little bit unusual because I'll just say this: we know that there are people that were there tonight that night that know what happened, and we need those people to come forward and tell us that information. And that's been the biggest challenge of this case, is the level of cooperation with a lot of the people that we've talked to, and the information that we're getting from the folks that we've talked to. But like I said, I'm confident that there's someone who was there that night who could come forward and tell us what happened, and we need that person or those people to come forward and do that and help us out with this. And that's the biggest roadblock that we're running into right now.
Has there been any video surveillance that has been looked at, or surveillance video that has been looked at? Is that available? And I'm guessing you can't discuss it, but have you been able to review some surveillance video in the area? I think
it would be safe to say yes. We've looked at a lot of different video from different sources, and as in many different cases, there's cameras everywhere, it seems like. And so we've certainly spent a lot of time retrieving as much video footage as we can to try and piece this together. And that's obviously taking a lot of time too, to go through all of that information and watch those videos, and it's very labor intensive to do that. And so we've certainly spent a lot of time wading through all that evidence.
Any weapons recovered yet?
We have recovered some weapons. We just don't know the involvement of those weapons. I don't know if that made any sense, but
no, that does.
Yeah.
As far as people coming forward, have you been able to pick up any new leads in recent weeks for this case?
Well, we have a lot of leads. It's just trying to substantiate or figure out if those leads are credible or not. And every interview that we do, regardless of the level of cooperation, gives us some information that we can hopefully keep this case moving forward. It's just, every detective involved and the commanders involved are frustrated that we haven't solved this yet.
As far as the managers and the owners, how cooperative have those people been, as well as employees at the Africa?
The employees that we've talked to seem to have, I think most of them have been very cooperative and have provided us information. Some of that information, was shared yesterday at Liquor Control. I think that the management probably knows more than they're telling us at this point, but that's a hunch.
Chief Sapolsky talked about a lot of the public safety issues at that place, whether it was a felon collecting guns at the door, rumors that you could pay someone $50 to keep your gun, and just all the incidents that had happened there. Do you think there's any way that this murder could have been prevented, and if so, how?
Well, I think that any time that you have alcohol and firearms that are mixed together, that's a recipe for trouble. And I know this was brought up at liquor control yesterday, but I don't think that having bar bouncers clearing out patrons either from inside the bar or out in the parking lot and having firearms present is a good business practice. And whether or not that was a contributing factor in this case, I can't say that for right now. But like I said, alcohol and firearms is not a good mixture, and I think it was probably just a matter of time before something happened when you have that type of environment.
Another case I wanted to bring up is Santino.
Santino.
Yeah, Santino Mariel.
Yep.
It's going to be a year in September, I believe.
August
yes.
28th. Yep.
So we're coming up on that year anniversary.
Yeah.
I know we talked about the difficulty of that case, but is there any new leads with that case that the police department has been able to explore? Right.
There's another case where someone maybe in this community knows what happened. And, there were people present with Santino that when he was killed, and those people have been very cooperative and have helped us and provided witness statements, but that's not enough to solve this case. And again, we've put out, I think, a couple of notices to the public that if anyone has information to contact us, we really need someone to come forward and tell us and help us and provide us information. And I know that his loved ones and his friends are frustrated that we haven't solved this case yet, and the detectives that are assigned to this case, and I'm frustrated that we haven't solved this case yet. We don't like unsolved murders. The public doesn't like that, and we don't like that. And we're going to keep working this case. It's not inactive. It's not a cold case. One factor with a lot of these cases too is, there are things that, evidence that we gather like DNA or phone information or phone data. That stuff takes time to get back or to get results on. And, not getting into the specifics of this case, there's evidence that, we need to wade through and we're waiting for results on.
What's the possibility that you think these two cases can be solved?
Well, at the risk of sounding maybe overly optimistic, I'm confident we're going to solve these cases. And, I took a look at the Africa Club homicide. I think right now we have close to 100, if I remember correctly, supplements, maybe even over 100 supplements to that report, which is unusual. And, we're going to actively work this case until we can solve it or until we absolutely run out of leads. And the same goes for Santino. He deserves justice in this case. As far as we can tell, he was, we haven't really found any reason why he should have been killed. And he deserves justice. And we're going to keep working this case until we can, again, either solve it or we just absolutely run out of leads. And, again, if people in the public have information, even if they maybe don't know who killed either of these individuals, but if they have information that would be helpful and they're willing to come forward, that is a huge help for us.
What would you like the public to know about these cases or the police department as they work to solve them?
Well, again, I know it's frustrating that we can't just come out and say, okay, here's everything we know, and share it with everyone and then let everyone else pick it apart and give their opinions or take a look at it. There's a lot of details that we can't share, and we do that to maintain the integrity of the case, because at some point our hope is this is going to go to trial or we're going to bring forward a suspect, and those details are going to help us get a prosecution. And so we can't just come out and share everything we've done or are doing. But I also want people to understand that just because we don't have information to share doesn't mean that the case isn't being worked. Again, I can speak for the detectives that are working both of these cases, and it's at the forefront of their minds all the time. And even when they take on new cases, they aren't neglecting this case or these cases. Club Africa, we have multiple detectives working on that one because there is so much work that needs to be done. And again, we're going to keep working those as far as we can.
And it's safe to say that these two cases are not related, correct, as far as we know?
I can't say.
Okay. Well, I think that's all I had for you. Yeah. So thank you so much for all your time today.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.